And so, I mean, then we're just caught in our reactions. When people are praising us, we feel inspired and happy, and people criticize us, we feel angry and depressed. When things are going my way, I like it, I feel secure. When things are not going my way, I feel very insecure and angry. And so these are, I'm just caught in the conditioned realm without any ability to understand it. I'm merely a victim of conditioned phenomena. So how many of you can control the conditions so that they're everything you want all the time? It's impossible, isn't it? No way can any individual human being do that. The Buddha couldn't do that. He couldn't control the conditions in his life to make him feel happy and secure. But he awakened to the nature of conditioned phenomena. So that means that we switch on the light of consciousness. Now consciousness itself, when you recognize it, this consciousness is something you don't create out of ignorance. It's a natural state that we begin to recognize. We don't recognize it usually. We actually assume we're conscious, but we're experiencing consciousness through our attachments, through the sense of ourself, through our loves and hates, through how we're feeling in the moment. We're conscious, and but we're projecting into our consciousness, identifying with our desires and wishes and longings and fears, and we don't know what we're doing till we use sati sampajanya, or intuitive awareness, which means suddenly we're no longer looking for happiness, but willing to observe happiness, unhappiness is like this. So then in language itself is a limited structure. So, when you say in the Buddhist terminologies that enlightenment is the highest happiness, that doesn't quite make sense. Because it's not the happiness of having everything you want, or everything beautiful and pleasant, but it's the happiness of knowing the truth, which is not the same kind of happiness as in getting what you want, or having a sunny day. And so this happiness then, you can say, what we call nibbana, or the recognition, the realization. You're with the real now. You are the reality yourself. You're not cutting yourself off from reality by attaching to the conditioned realm, to death. When you attach to conditions, you're attaching to death. Because whatever conditions you're experiencing now, it's changing, and it's no condition is going to get better and better and better and better forever. It's like your inhalation. It reaches a peak, and then the other exhalation begins. And so this pattern of conditioned phenomena can be recognized, and studied and investigated. Not despised, because we learn from it. We begin to realize, recognize the Dhamma through understanding suffering, or unhappiness, or desire, attachment to desire, or wanting. We can be aware of wanting something we don't have. We can be aware of not wanting life to be the way it is. So that awareness, is reality, in which the conditions are seen, and then we can respond to conditions. So in our response to living in a human body, in a society, is a moral commitment. So we determine to do the good, refrain from doing the bad. So our active side, our participation in the community, in the family, in the society is to do good, to be generous, kind, loving, helpful, considerate, honest, trustworthy. These are the conditions that we act on, that we develop in relating to the conditioned realm that we're in. But we also experience their opposites. Isn't it? We experience anger and resentment and desire for revenge and unforgivingness and rage and jealousy and fear, because this is also conditioning, but we can recognize it without acting on it or attaching to it. So that's why in the First Noble Truth, understanding suffering, we have to bear with the negative side of life, with old age, with the aging process, with loss. We all have to, in a human lifetime, we all have to experience loss, separation from the loved, death of our loved ones. And then if we live long enough, we have to see our parents get old and die, and friends, and even our pets affect us. When our dog or cat dies, there's a sadness, isn't there? There's grief in that loss. This is part of life. But our relationship to loss isn't trying to just ignore it, but to feel it, to know loss, grief is like this, so that we are learning about loss and not indulging in it, or not denying it, or rejecting it. Because this conditioned realm is like this. Its nature is change, and it changes all by itself. We don't have to make it change, it just changes. Because that's what it's supposed to do. It's not supposed to be happy all the time or pleasant. But it's nearly autumn now, isn't it? The equinox in a few days, where the days and nights are equal. And then, after the equinox, what happens? The days grow shorter and the nights grow longer. And say, well, I like long days and short nights. Well, and then if you attach to that, you're going to be miserable. You'll have to move closer to the equator or something. But if you have to stay here, then, this is the way it is. From the equinox, then the days grow shorter and the nights grow longer. And then in the springtime, the days grow longer, the nights grow shorter. So, it's just the way things are. Our relationship to that is awareness, and not to wish it were otherwise. Or if we do wish it were otherwise, to see that, the suffering of attachment to those desires. So in Buddha Dhamma, recognize the unconditioned and the conditioned. So this is Buddhist way of thinking. So the unconditioned is not, you can't imagine the unconditioned. It has no image. It has no form. But it's real. And that reality is awareness, sati sampajanya, satipanya. Or in Buddhist terms, Buddha Dhamma Sangha. So when we take refuge in Buddha Dhamma Sangha, taking refuge in awakened consciousness in the present. So the unconditioned is real. It's not an imagined, hoped-for state far off that we hope to attain, but it is recognized. And then our relationship to the condition is knowing it for what it is, through the Noble Truth, suffering, the causes of suffering, the cessation of suffering, and the way of living within these changing conditions, with the experience of change, without identifying, without attachment, but through understanding, through enlightened understanding of Dhamma, or reality. So I offer this as a reflection for this evening.